We'll start on another lecture on book of Sirach. Just continuing what we have said so far. The point what we are saying is cultural context or the setting of the book of Sirach we are saying, right? So the context of the book of Sirach is the cultural tension between Greek culture and Hebraic religion. Out of this, book of Sirach emerges. Book of Sirach is an answer to the cultural tension experienced by the God-fearing Jews, especially the younger generations. The book of Sirach admonishes the young Hebrews to fall back to the culture and to their religion, never been attracted to this, a Greek culture which appears to be superior. And here, the main concern of book of Sirach is to show the richness of Hebrew culture and Hebrew religion and faith. And therefore, as I told you, especially during the time of the Hellenistic period in Israel, in Palestine, what we are saying is Greek culture is so much attracting because there were gymnasiums. Greek culture is full of gymnasiums. Gyms, they start a lot of gyms, okay? Now they have to go there. And when seeing these bodybuilders and all this, a lot of exercises and all this, young generation of Jews children, they were attracted. So there is a cultural tension. And there he tells, and also the philosophical thought, wisdom movement that began by the Greek culture, Hellenistic culture. Great philosophers are there from Greece, right? Greek culture, right? And now this wisdom thought has attracted a lot of people. And there, the main thrust of book of Sirach, he tells, no, we have Torah. That is the greatest wisdom. Outside the Torah, there is no wisdom at all, he says. So that is the cultural setting. Coming back to next point, influence of non-Jewish wisdom thought on Sirach. Influence of non-Jewish wisdom thought on book of Sirach. This title you will not find. And also the number is changed. Third point. Here we are trying to say book of Sirach has got its influence at least from 4 sources which are non-Jewish in thought. So when book of Sirach he is writing his literature, his book, at least 4 non-Jewish wisdom thoughts are in his mind or behind this book. First one is Iliad, written by Iliad. Iliad is a poem written by Homer. He is from 8th century. Greek poet. He writes wonderful writing. There are a lot of intellectual books or theological poems that are addressed to him or written by him. And there he writes concerning one issue that is being depicted or written into the book of Sirach, chapter 14, verse 18. We'll just read what is written in book of Sirach 14, verse 18. So verse 14 of Sirach, chapter 14 verse 18 would read, Like abundant leaves on a spreading tree that sheds some and puts forth others, so are the generations of flesh and blood. One dies and another is born. So this is a wisdom thought is coming from a book written by, or a poem written by great Greek philosopher Homer. A poem called Iliad, sixth poem, there 148 to 49 verse would speak about. There Homer also describes from his observations how generations pass and generations come. He compares these generations coming and generations going to a tree. A tree in its season sheds its old leaves and brings forth the new leaves. Likewise, younger generations die and newer generations come into this world. That is observation made by Homer in his poem Iliad 6. The same idea is taken by Sirach, the author of Sirach, because we said he was in Egypt, a Greco-Roman area, a place controlled by the Greek culture, and there he had been hearing, not that he belonged to that time, 8th century BC, no. Some of the great sayings of a person are made available to the next generations after a lot of time, right? For example, none of us have seen Shakespeare, but we do quote in our preachings. So this has happened like that. And book of Sirach, in his mind some of the Hellenistic thoughts are there, or Hellenistic influence is there when he writes his book. Secondly, Theognis, another 6th century, Theognis, another 6th century Greek author. Now, Theognis writes in his book concerning the character of a good friend, and therefore, influenced by these writings, the author of the book of Ben Sirach, not Jesus ben Eliezer, Jesus of Sirach, or Jesus son of Sirach, he takes the ideas of Theognis and he puts forward how one needs to find a best friend. What an amount that he has spent, one has to spend in finding a good friend. We'll have a number of references. Chapter 6, verse 10. Sirach chapter 6, verse 10. And there are friends who sit at your table, but they will not stand by you in time of trouble. When you are prosperous, they become your second self and lord it over your servants. But if you are brought low, they turn against you. And another example from same chapter, verse 15, we shall read. Faithful friends are beyond price. No amount can balance their worth. Faithful friends are life-saving medicine. And again concerning friends, chapter 9, verse 10. We'll open chapter 9 of book of Sirach, verse 10. Do not abandon old friends, for new ones cannot equal them. A new friend is like a new wine. When it has aged, you can drink it with pleasure. See, these are the comparisons. Then again, chapter 10, verse 6. Chapter 10, verse 6. Do not get angry with your neighbor for every injury, and do not resort to acts of insolence. Then again, chapter 13, verse 1. 13, chapter verse 1. Whoever touches pitch gets dirty, and whoever associates with a proud person becomes like him. Do not lift a weight too heavy for... Oh, that's another instruction concerning. Then again, chapter 31, 26. 31, 26. As the furnace tests the work of the smith, so wine tests hearts when the insolent quarrel. So these are the instructions concerning friends. And these ideas, some of these ideas are already spoken by Theognis in his books. So, book of Ben Sirach is open to non-Jewish wisdom thought, ideas, insofar as they do not go against the Torah. He has adopted some of the sayings and wisdom thought or proverbs or collection of thoughts by non-Jewish authors too, but if not all, he hasn't taken everything. But he has selected and chosen and put those things in this book insofar as they do not speak against or they do not go against the teachings of the law, Torah. So, which are falling back to the teachings, in line with the teachings of Torah, he has adopted that wisdom. This is an important point, we have to make it clear. Then concerning Egypt, we said, he is translating his work. Who is that? Second one. Jesus, son of Ben Sirach, he is translating his grandfather's work in Egypt. Therefore, some of the Egyptian sages' thoughts have influenced him. An Egyptian sage named Phoebus, he writes something concerning the danger of gluttony and lust. And these two causes ruin for a fool. And he also admires or gives instruction for his students concerning the frugality and need for moderation in moderation. So also, the author of the book of Sirach takes these advices, collects them and transmits them or make uses them in his work. As already I have told you, to what extent the author of book of Sirach has incorporated non-Jewish wisdom? The answer is, insofar as that is useful for instruction for the young or those who come to him, and insofar as that instruction wouldn't go against the Hebrew thinking or Torah, he has incorporated. while wisdom was considered the highest thing, ideal for anyone to achieve. One idea I forgot to tell you. Starting from Egypt, next to the king, what is the greatest position that people long to have, or greatest position that won the admiration of everyone, is becoming a sage, becoming an instructor, becoming a scribe. So scribe, the position of a scribe or an instructor or a sage, was the highest position that was admired by all the subjects or all the countrymen, next to king. So therefore, many started delving or spending their time becoming great instructors, becoming great sages. And that's how we have a lot of philosophers in Greek culture, not other cultures. For them, especially the time of Ben-Sirach's time, all the Greeks intellectuals were interested in attaining the wisdom. They considered attaining wisdom or gaining wisdom made them immortal, because their wisdom remains after their death. Thereby, they remain. It's not they are dead and gone, but the wisdom that they have collected and transmitted to the young remains. Therefore, they continue to live in the form of wisdom sayings and proverbs or wisdom instruction. And now, this is the situation, or this is the context where the author of book of Ben-Sirach stands. So therefore, on the other side, we also said there is a lot of attraction from the part of small group, these Jews, towards this great culture, Greek culture. On many grounds they have been attracted. First of all, on the intellectual level they have been attracted. On the physical level, it is very good. Greeks, they do lot of exercise. They gymnasians, we said, right? Gymnasians, they started and lot of exercise was going on because they do lot of wars, right? Greeks, by birth, they are, no, that's it. Now, in this context, he has to say something. The author of the book of Sirach has to say something. Therefore, he says to the young, better than wisdom, or the greatest wisdom is nothing but Torah. So, commitment to Torah is the highest form of wisdom, he tells. And from that context only, he tells, fear of the Lord is the fullness of wisdom. So, where do you find the fear of the Lord? In Torah. In diligent study of Torah, you will know the fear of the Lord. The moment you know the fear of the Lord, that you are on the path to wisdom. Easy way, no? Greeks, they have to study so many these, that and so on. Okay, lot of these things. But a shortcut way, book of the author of Ben-Sirach says, the easiest, the simplest way you become wise is you fall back to the teachings of the Torah. You learn the instructions in Torah. While the book of Proverbs claimed that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, reference please, Proverbs 1:7. First part, Proverbs 1:7 would say, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 1:7, should never forget. There is reference should be in your mind. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. We said, Ben-Sirach, in the beginning lectures I said, Ben-Sirach is influenced by the wisdom thought of the book of Proverbs. Now he is not satisfied with the teachings of the book of Proverbs. He goes beyond and tells, the fear of the Lord is the crown of wisdom, he tells. Fear of the Lord is the crown of wisdom. Reference 118, Sirach 118. So he tells, or he counsels his students, walking in wisdom means walking always in accordance with the Jewish Torah. So according to wisdom is nothing but doing and living according to Torah. He also says, God causes wisdom to dwell in Jerusalem. He tells, book of Sirach tells, God caused wisdom to dwell where? In Jerusalem temple. Reference 24, 8 to 12. Sirach 24, 8 to 12. Please read. 24, 8 to 12. 8 to 12. I am reading. Then the Creator of all things gave me a command. My Creator, 24, Sirach 24, 8 to 12. My Creator chose the place for my tent. Who is telling all these things? Wisdom is telling. He said, make your dwelling in Jacob, and in Israel receive your inheritance. Before the ages, in the beginning, He created me, wisdom is telling, and for all the ages I shall not cease to be, which means it will continue to exist. Who? Wisdom. In the holy tent, I ministered before Him. Holy tent. Where is the holy tent? Jerusalem is the holy tent. Brothers, you are not following, huh? Just see. If you open the text, you will know. Before the holy tent, I ministered before Him. So I was established in Zion. Wisdom is telling what? I am established in Zion. Zion is a Jerusalem temple. Thus, in the beloved city, He gave me a resting place. In the beloved city, in Jerusalem, God gave wisdom to dwell. Why? Because temple was a place of instruction, I told you in the beginning, right? Priests were teaching in the temple. Prophets were admonishing people, those who come into the temple, telling the right way, right behavior, right living. And likewise, wise counsels. The sages who were living in Jerusalem temple also giving instruction. Started scribal schools and teaching the instruction to the young. Therefore, wisdom says, gives an account of herself, or Sirach would say, God has caused wisdom to dwell in His temple. Yeah. After having said so much, so these are the admonitions that he gives to his to the young generations. Why? Because during his time, again I am repeating some of the ideas. Why? Because Jews were at the frontiers of Hellenistic culture. Hellenistic culture appeared superior in promises for personal achievement, enjoyment of life pleasures, internal desires. So for these things, a free way of life, free thinking, free living. So this was the Greek culture proposed. So because of that, the young generations of Jews, this reading, studying Torah, living a strict way of life or living a right way of life, okay, controlling oneself, okay, living justly, all these things appeared as if little burdensome. Yeah. Therefore, to this kind of generation, Sirach tells, no, all the promises that superior culture that appear to be giving, they are false. It's not true wisdom. True wisdom is placed in the Jerusalem temple, he tells. So through his teachings, he tells the younger generations to honor their tradition. In order to give a correct or right motivation to the younger generations, Book of Sirach teaches his wisdom teachings in order to promote adherence to values of the Jewish Judaism. On him there is a great responsibility to teach younger generations to value their Jewish customs and traditions. At the face of strongly combating or fighting against tendencies to assimilate Gentile culture. Younger generations were interested to go and join the Greek culture and Greek way of living, and in that place, Book of Sirach would admonish his young students, remain faithful to the Judaism. Then next, the structure of the Book of Sirach and its sources. Structure and sources we will see together. What is the structure of Book of Sirach? It looks as if number of poems, number of instructions at length, longer instructions. Book seems to be lot of poems, lot of instructions, no proper order. We feel like at the very first look, but that is not so. It's not correct. There is a lot of order. There is structure in the book of Ben Sirach. Now let us see what is the proper structure in the book of Ben Sirach. Generally, the book of Sirach is made up of passages on particular themes. Generally, the book of Proverbs is made up of longer passages on particular themes. On different themes, he has got longer passages. Generally, it appears like that, the book. As I told you earlier, book of Sirach is fashioned after the book of Proverbs. He is so much influenced and impressed by the book of Proverbs. Who? The author of book of Ben Sirach. And therefore, we said book of Proverbs, there is a beginning one poem and ending one poem. Both the poems on wisdom. Shall we see? Open the book of Proverbs. Hope you haven't forgotten book of Proverbs. Yeah. There are wisdom poems starting and ending with the poem. Is it true? Yeah. Except the prologue. After the prologue we have chapters 20. We have a poem on wisdom. Right? Chapter 1 of Proverbs, verse 20 and the following, we have a poem of wisdom. Now we will come back to the last part of the book of Proverbs. Again there is poem on a wise woman. Is it so? Poem on a wise woman, wise lady, wisdom lady, or a wise wife, intellectual wife. Is that true? In the chapter 31, verse 10 and the following, there is a poem on a capable woman, a wise woman. A wise woman, what she does? A number of things, she puts everything in order. She takes care and all that. So book of Proverbs is between two wisdom poems. The rest of matter is the author of the book of Proverbs would say, so we have to look for wisdom. So what is the wisdom? Fear of the Lord is the wisdom, he tells. Now likewise, book of Sirach, it's not one. He writes 8 poems. The order of the book of Sirach is fashioned after 8 poems. Each poem is followed by an important instruction. Each poem is followed by an important instruction. Let us see that. Let us see that order, that structure in the book. Please open your Bibles. Book of Ben Sirach. We'll see that structure. I told you, proverb begins and ends with a poem. Likewise, book of Sirach contains 8 poems, each followed by an important instruction. Book of Sirach, chapter 1. Chapter 1, what we have? Before chapter 1 begins, we have prologue, right? Yeah, likewise, like book of Proverbs. Book of Proverbs also has got prologue. The next followed by wisdom poem. Now likewise, book of Sirach also has got prologue, followed by immediately a praise of wisdom, a poem on wisdom. It consists of, first poem, it consists from verses 1 to 10. 1 to 10 is a poem. And the first poem is followed by an important instruction, we said, right? Yeah. What is the important instruction? Fear the Lord is the true wisdom. Okay? Then, duties towards God. So, first instruction is about God. Very important, right? The very first part of the book of Sirach, after explaining the wisdom, a poem, then he brings important matter. What is important matter for him? God, fear of God, like book of Proverbs. Therefore, also he speaks about duties towards God. My child, I am reading chapter 2, verse 1. My child, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare yourselves for testing, set your heart right and be steadfast. These are the instructions concerning when you come before the Lord. If there is someone like that, spiritual director telling us early morning we have to prepare ourselves and go to the mass, spend some time, that's very interesting. Then again, next to parents, next to God, who are they? Duties towards the parents. Chapter 3. Next to God, God's representatives are parents. Therefore, we have duties towards the parents. So, he gives instruction concerning the parents. Concerning God, service, and concerning parents, he gives instruction. Now, it makes some sense to you, The book of Sirach makes some sense to us. Because this structure we should understand. The next followed by another poem, okay? Then again about humility, about alms for the poor, okay? Duties towards the poor and the oppressed. So these are the things. Then about chapter 4, verse 11 to 19, another poem, another wisdom poem. Wisdom teaches her children and gives help to those who seek her. Whoever loves her loves life, and those who seek her from early morning are filled with joy. So therefore, early morning what you have to do? You have to spend early morning, get up and look for wisdom. Where? In the temple. Sir, early morning we go to chapel, right? Where do we spend our time? Chapel. Though sometimes we sleep, there is a place we find wisdom, right? Wisdom for next hours to live. Next hours to live. Rest of the hours to live, we have wisdom. Wisdom coming from, that's why we have reading of the biblical text and explanation, all that. Good. That's the next poem. We'll see third poem. Third poem in chapter, instruction we have not seen now. Precepts for everyday living. The second poem followed by another important instruction on precepts for everyday living. Do not rely on your wealth or say, I have enough. Do not follow your inclination and strength in pursuing the desires of your heart. Do not say, who can have power over me? For the Lord will surely punish you. So which means the prideful attitude of a person is condemned. Instead of having, as I said, no, pride goes before fall. Book of Proverbs, again teachings of Book of Proverbs, lectures on Book of Proverbs are coming. The Book of Sirach. As we said, Sirach depends mostly on the style and the teachings and the content of Book of Proverbs. Yeah. Then again third one, chapter 6. Chapter 6 starting from verse 1 to 8 and chapter 6 verse 18 to 37. 18 to 37. Yeah, blessings of wisdom. Yeah, what wisdom is telling? My child, from your youth, choose discipline. And when you have grey hair, you will still find wisdom. Come to her like one who plows and sows, and wait for her good harvest. For when you cultivate her, you will toil but little, and soon you will eat of her produce. She seems very harsh to the undisciplined. Fools cannot remain with her. She will be like a heavy stone to test them. Yeah. They are followed by another important advices, instructions, miscellaneous advices. Do not evil and evil will. So, do no evil and evil will never overtake you. Stay away from wrong and it will turn away from you. Do not sow in the furrows of injustice. You will not reap a sevenfold crop. Do not seek from the Lord high office or the seat of honor from the king. Do not assert your righteousness before the Lord. Job was doing this, right? Job was doing. He was asserting his righteousness before the Lord. He was telling, I am right, I am good, I am upright, I was doing so much so. Yeah, he was criticizing his friends, yeah. So then, some of other instructions, relations with others. Do not exchange a friend for money or a real brother for the gold of Ophir. Do not dismiss a wise and good wife, for her charm is worth more than gold. Do not abuse slaves who work faithfully or hired laborers who devote themselves to their task. Let your soul love intelligent slaves. So some of the instructions concerning how to open the Bible and see. Lot of interesting things are found. How to open and see. Then only we'll have the taste for it. So next one is, fourth poem is starting from chapter 14 verse 20. 14-20. Please mark there, fourth poem like that, round it like that. Okay? Starting from chapter 14 verse 20 up to chapter 15 verse 10. This is all one single wisdom poem. Happiness of seeking wisdom. So if you seek wisdom, you will feel happy. That's what you say. Happy is the person who meditates on wisdom and reasons intelligently, who reflects in his heart on her ways and ponders her secrets, pursuing her like a hunter and lying in wait for her paths, who peers through her windows and listens to her doors, who camps near her house and fastens in tent peg to her walls. Which means to say, you have to on and off seek the ways of wisdom. Try to get into close contact with the wisdom. Where is the wisdom is staying? Book of Sirach says, where is the dwelling place of wisdom? First of all, it's God. It's with God. And since God is in Jerusalem temple, therefore it is available in the Jerusalem temple. Not in the Jerusalem temple literally would mean the instruction that is happening there, she is there. The prayer, the worship that is happening, she is there. Okay? The admonitions that are happening, she is there. So that is the content. Then some important teachings there under that freedom of choice. This text we have read previously, right? Freedom of choice concerning the evil. Okay, concerning book of Job we have read concerning freedom of choice, whether man is free to choose anything and do evil and all that. Okay, there we have said. Do not say it was Lord's doing that I fell away. Okay, now no one should say, because good and evil is created by God, therefore I fell down because God has led me astray. Or somebody can say, yeah, I am doing okay, today I have sinned because of the Lord. No one can say. Sirach, we said there, the book of Job, there when Job was having problem, where does the evil come from? There we read this same text. Okay, however, God's punishment of sinners, another instruction. Do not desire a multitude of worthless children. Okay, that's all. Forget it. We'll go faster. And there is a next fifth poem. Fifth poem is starting from chapter 24, verse 1 to 34. 24, 1. Long gap. Lot of big instructions concerning after fourth poem. Between fourth poem and fifth poem, lot of gap is there. Which means big instruction was going on. Instruction on numerous things. Okay. 24 verse 1. Praise of wisdom. Wisdom praises herself and tells her glory in the midst of her people. In the assembly of the Most High, she opens her mouth, and in the presence of his host, she tells of her glory. Okay, that's about wisdom. Wisdom poem. Then some of the important instructions concerning there. Oh, that is, it's going up to 34, verse 34. 24, 34. Starting almost like full chapter. Full chapter, 24th chapter is, full chapter is on, one chapter is on wisdom poem on wisdom. And those who are worthy of praise, and evil of a wicked woman. So these are some of the instructions. Joy of a good wife. Blessing of a good wife. So a number of instructions on that. Then again, sixth poem we'll have on chapter 32. Please open chapter 32. 32 starting from verse 14. 14 to 33, 18. So 32, 33 chapters. We have a providence of God. That is a wisdom poem. Okay, that is another wisdom poem. Starting from chapters 32 verse 14 to 33, 18. And we have seventh Seventh poem in chapters 38. Chapters 38, starting from 24. 24 to 24 to chapters 38, 24 to 39th chapter, 39th chapter 11. Up to chapter 11. 39, 11. Then the last poem is in the chapter 32. 32. Starting from verse 15. Verse 15 to chapter 33, 43, 33. 43, 33. 43, 33, which means up to the hymn in honor of ancestors. This is the book of Sirach is special because it mentions or it praises the ancestors. There is a hymn or praises in honor of the ancestors. Like we have there Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Aaron, Isaac, Moses, Phinehas. So the number of people like David, kings like David, Solomon, and all these things. 44. Yeah, up to, yeah, all these things. Why? Because at the same time he gives these people and he praises them. Also there are scoldings. He also criticizes those who have shown wrong path. There is a praise for those who have done good. There is a criticism on those who have shown wrong path. So why book of Sirach introduces this kind of material in his book? I told you, this is a book of instruction for the young to remain steadfast in their faith. Now concerning those whose names are praised, they are praised because they remained steadfast in their love, to the law, to their God, to their commitment. For example, Caleb, you know, is one among those who have been sent on spying the land of Canaan before it has been occupied. Joshua and Caleb and some other were also sent by Moses to go and spy the land before they were coming from Egyptian slavery. On their return, they have given bad report. Recently we have read that, the book of Numbers, from the book of Numbers for the daily mass. But anyway, now all others give bad report, but whereas Caleb and Joshua give good report that God has given that land to our hands, therefore we can go. So these are some of the ways all those ancestors who have spoken, or those who have remained steadfast to the God, to the covenant, to the temple and God's teachings, they were praised. And those other ancestors who haven't respected the commandments of God, who has gone or encouraged idolatry, which means worshipping foreign gods, other gods, idols and all these things, and all those have led people astray, those ancestors like Solomon is also criticized because in his later days he encourages a lot of foreign gods worships, because he has married so many foreign ladies of princely class. Therefore they came, not only they came as wives, they came along with their gods, their worship, and he hasn't condemned. So there is a thing. So that is the structure of the book of yeah. The rest of things are easy.